Good evening and welcome to a brand new edition of Face to Face, coming to you direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. And today I have a very special guest with me who was recently appointed to the post of Governor of the Western Province. He is very well known and a known figure in Sri Lanka's corporate and business landscape, but now he has taken on a new role as the Governor of Sri Lanka's Western Province. He is none other than Mr. Hanif Yusoof. A very good evening to you, Mr. Hanif, and welcome back. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, evening to you, Jamal. Evening to you. Thank you for inviting me.
Certainly, Mr. Hanif. So, to get the ball rolling this evening, you have always been a business leader. You are an entrepreneur. You started off with going in your former boss's Lambretta, developing a logistics business, bringing it up from the ground up, and now it has gone global, operating in more than 39 countries, I believe. And you have now passed on the baton to the next generation. This opportunity, I would say an opportunity because I know that you believe that being the Governor of the Western Province is certainly an opportunity for you to work towards the people, is certainly a unique one for someone as yourself. Tell us about what you felt when President Anurukumara Dissanayake announced that he was willing to appoint you as the Governor of the Western Province.
So, Jamal, let me start off saying something. I don't think the President owes me anything, nor do I owe the NPP anything.
Right.
When I met President Anurukumara Dissanayake, when we call him AKD,
Yes.
very fondly, very
Certainly.
fondly, it was not too long ago, maybe 3 months ago.
I see.
So when his meeting with me was to know about my views on international trade, on FDIs, and something that he thought he could pick my mind on. It was an interesting meeting. And I realized at the end of that meeting, this man was clever, humble, did not express himself as he knows everything else.
Right.
He was willing to learn, he was willing to listen, and I kept that to myself. And I felt this man is a good man, simply, and maybe good for a change of the country because of issues. Then I told him something. I said, Anura, I said, "Dinan noni." He said, "Hanif, I am here. Mandana, dinan noni." Amaku. මිනිස්සු එපා වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. මම නම් ව්‍යාපාරික. නමුත් මම දන්නවා පොඩි මිනිහාගේ අමාරු තැනට ඉන්නේ. And so it was just in my little singular and a very issues. But I found him again somebody who listened.
Right.
And that was my first meeting. My second meeting was a more over a meal type of meeting. The elections were going on and he was quite running around, and then he said, so you know what the politicians do, normally ask for elections, but this was not the AKD that asked me. He said,
Right.
When he said that, I knew that this man is sincere. It
was sincere.
Sincere. I told my friend, this is a man whom I call collector of hearts.
Right.
Anyway, now he's the president, and I thought I will go back to my life that I wanted to lead when I exited from the company that I created with almost nothing and brought it up to some level. And I must remind myself that this company was a company which belonged to the Colombo Stock Exchange. It has 20,000 shareholders, it had a foreign ownership, everything was above board. Accounts were very clear, audited by the best auditors in the world, audited by another foreign auditors in Japan. So I was very happy to get used to a very corporate governance, very clear transparency company, which everything was recorded. And many people did benefit from the stock market of my company. But more important is that when I exited, and I thought that I would just relax and watch this, I'm in the sunset of my life, Jama. I'm in my sunset of my life. And I thought I would just be on a rocking chair watching the sunset. And I'm a man who has worked from the age of 16, doing odd jobs, nights going and taking photographs at nightclubs, being a party magician over weekends, being a fashion designer, a very unsuccessful one at that. But I've tried everything else possible. And I knew I was only trying to make myself better. So at this pinnacle of success, I said I would be just wasting. God has given us life to use every moment of our breath to serve. So in this rocking chair, watching the sunset, lawn, which is full of garbage. And when he told me, Hanif, Mama, put it down. I said, Matana kisadeyak onne. He said, nah, make an hour gun noni. What a governor posted, Mama Balaprotin or governor posted then. Matuno, incorruptible. That's the word he used, though in his language. Incorruptible person. And I was, and before I could say I was honored, he said, Mata loko gaurayak. Mata gaurayak. So this is the man that I'm serving now. And I thought I'd give it the best shot. Because we are at this time of our lives, what can I give back? I can give back my story. I can give back on time. And this is not something I'm used to. So when people say we have appointed, AKD has appointed a man with no experience in this public service. But I'm a man who had handled people. Today I'm handling civil servants. I'm in a public place.
Governance role.
Governance role. And really one of my profiles in my job is I'm a garbage collector. And I do understand is this whole profiles, when garbage is thrown at me, I will recycle them. It's not my job to react to garbage. My job is to do what I can do with that garbage, recycle them. This country needs, I want my desire to make Western Province. It's a desire. A man can have a dream. My dream is to make it a clean city, a safe city, a beautiful place. And I've been given this Western Province which extends from, I think, Kochikale to Ambepussa to Avisavela to the Bentota River.
It's very diverse.
Very diverse. And I thought to myself, why did he give this to me? This is the economic, right? Then I realized this is the economic den of the people. And I'm going to do my best. And whatever said and done, I should be judged, only judged by the results that I produce. And if you ask me whether I have any anxiety of this job, I have no anxiety of criticism. I have no anxiety of dealing with people. I only have one anxiety of producing results. And that's my dream, of producing results.
Understood. Before we go into explaining your vision and how you plan to serve our communities, Mr. Hanif, I must ask you, because you are in fact a business leader and an entrepreneur yourself, there has been a very significant calling for Sri Lanka to be self-sufficient, to develop its own products, to manufacture its own products, and especially for Sri Lanka to be converted into an entrepreneurial state, for youngsters like myself to come forward, start businesses, to develop Sri Lanka and to contribute to the economy. And you are someone who began working at 16 years of age, and you took Expo Lanka from Sri Lanka to the world, from Expo Lanka to EFL Global and so on. Where did that journey start? Can you tell our viewers who really is Hanif Yusoof?
You see, I started my journey with a great, deep, see, I came from quite a wealthy family which went broke. So I've seen both sides of life, extremes.
Right.
So I always realized to survive, it's not a selfish desire. And I had one single tagline that I had: I will help people grow their businesses, so that they grow their businesses and I grow with them. So it was all about adding value. Today, as a public servant, one of the things that really happens in this country is everybody goes to a university. I meet students who have passed their exams but have no jobs. And I think entrepreneurship is something that should be promoted, but it's not really promoted. It's there in their system. It's just that they have to be guided that way. So everybody, at one time, when I was younger, everybody wanted to join the public service. The pensions are free, I mean, all that.
Yes.
But I've seen that change. I've seen that change. In the corporate world itself,
Yes.
people who are working for me in the private sector want to do their own businesses. And I always tell them, you must be bigger than us. Take the challenge. Don't be in your comfort zones. Go expand. You know, I mean, otherwise you will not. There's nothing to prove for.
Yes.
So I find that system built in even with people that I interact with.
Yes.
Now I'm interacting with public servants, and what is the normal way? And it's different. Is it different? I don't know. I don't think. I'm dealing with people.
Yes.
So my job at my 1 week of public service at the Western province of the governor's office to my people, I consider them all as good people. People might have something in the checkered past. I'm not interested. I need to inspire them, get the best out of them. They're great public servants, but they need to be inspired. They need to be able to serve the people. I just need to be their friend. I need to tap their shoulders and change this entire culture of a thing that people think public servants are inefficient.
Yes. Yes.
You know, they have their own issues.
Yes.
They're under pressure.
So on that same vein, I must ask you, President Anukumar Disanayaka, even on his campaign trail, before being elected the president, and even now, since he assumed duties as the president, has stressed on establishing an effective and also a people-centric public service. And like you said, in the early 70s or the 80s, when you were young, the public service, being a public servant, being a part of Sri Lanka's government service was, I believe, somewhat of a privilege for someone.
Yeah.
And now it is not the case. It has come under fire, under heavy scrutiny. But the president is now attempting to change that. And how do you plan on contributing, bringing your expertise from the corporate sector, from the private sector, bringing your personal experiences, fusing those together, and delivering the so-called people-centric public service that the president has envisaged?
Yeah. So I have to go on the road that the president is going. I find a similar road between the president and the way I deal with people. I find that,
Right.
like I said.
There are parallels.
There are parallels. And even if there are no parallels, it is my job to serve the man who's leading the country.
Yes.
I mean, we can't go two different ways.
Definitely.
So basically he wants to give people an efficient public service. He doesn't want people to come and rustify, you know.
Yes.
And so he wants to make sure that people get what they Today I'm the servant of the people. He is a servant of the people. The people have to be served. First, we have to inspire them. Inspire the workers who are serving the people. So it's a big gamut of things. And there are a lot, I can sit and talk about the shortcomings, about the teachers' shortcomings, the school shortcomings, the midday meal shortcomings, all that. But I'm not here to talk about that.
Yes.
I need to bring a positive twist to the whole entire world. And this is what I want to do. And I feel this can be changed. A little change in the compass. The compass was there.
Yes, they're simple.
Little change. When I looked at the compass, I knew I just need to change the
direction.
Direction. Needle by needle, second by second, to reach what they are aspiring for. So I think it's a job that at my stage of my life, I would like to end my life being a joyful person. So I think this job, however difficult it can be, and people said, I think I want to make it joyful, of serving the people, change the system, and do my very best, because people will judge me by the results I produce.
Understood. So, Mr. Hanif, the Western province, as we know it, with the 3 districts, is a very diverse province. Varying degrees of development, varying degrees of various communities residing in it, different ethnicities, different races. And when it comes to Colombo, yes, it's the most developed city, I would say, in Sri Lanka. But there are also areas in Kalutara, in Gampaha, that are very underdeveloped, and its communities haven't been granted the same facilities that some of us in Colombo or its suburbs might enjoy. It includes healthcare, it includes education, and we know there are so many public schools in Sri Lanka, so many government schools in Sri Lanka with a lack of teachers, with a dearth of teachers to teach the children, with a dearth of basic sanitary facilities, with lack of medicine in some hospitals, in divisional or district hospitals. As your role as the governor, in your role as the governor of the Western Province, and because provincial councils are not functioning at the moment, I know that there is a greater burden or responsibility on your shoulders now to uplift those standards and bring everything to a common platform or a plateau. How do you plan on doing this, Mr. Hanif?
So there are no provincial councils, there are no mayors, and there's a lot of work to be done. I would like to think this is an opportunity for me to do things and bring a process and a system in. You know, Jayamar, when you said about Kalutar and Gampa, indeed, but I was surprised the schools in Colombo North are even more in a shabby condition.
The urban poor.
Urban poor. I saw the results of the provincial council schools, of the Colombo provincial council schools. The southern province has better results than Colombo. So that's a learning.
That's the reality.
That's a reality. What shocked me most is I have 1,263 schools under the provincial system.
I see.
In the area. Some schools have absolutely no toilets. Girls who do not drink water, even maybe even boys, but girls especially do not drink water because they will have to go to the washroom. So they wait till they go home. What a situation like that. You know, Western Province is, people say it's about the haves and have-nots. Sometimes I consider Western Province was having have-nots and have-yachts.
Right. So
Okay.
the disparity
The disparity
is so
the
big.
disparity is so big. So when foreign missions come to see me in my capacity as governor, or when NGOs come to see me and they ask me, you know, we can do this, I tell them, just do me one thing. Just do me one thing. Take some public schools and make toilets. What do I want to be remembered as, or what do I want to serve as? That these people are basic. So my first priority is to make sure that the people of the Western Province have a standard basic of living standards.
Standard of living, yes.
Standard, you know, basics. So it's, I mean, people like us, we are worried about, and we should be, about the potholes or about the garbage collections, and we want the garbage to be collected more frequently, and that's a Colombo elite priority.
Yes.
But there are people who are absolutely nothing, and even the roads to travel to school. So I think a lot of changes need to be made. I think under new leadership, hopefully, we'll all work together. The beauty of this whole thing, when I spoke to Etchi, was he made a very specific point, which I always said in many times during communal unrest.
Right.
He said, as long as you are Jativadi, as long as there's no law and order for everyone equally, a country can't prosper.
Racial tensions.
Racial tensions, law and order. So both are in my list of things. Number two is about getting the people to rise with hope from a situation that we went from COVID to a situation of financial meltdown, and now little sign of hope, and this window must be amplified.
Must be taken use of.
Amplified. So as governor of the Western Province, I welcome the challenges, and I'm actually honored to serve the public servants as their leader and my teammates to make some significant change that people will observe it has inspired change.
Very well said. So, Mr. Hanif, I must ask you, because we are on that topic and because we have been experiencing severe rainfall, especially in the Western Province, and we know something synonymous with rainfall is the dengue epidemic,
Yeah.
which always rears its head when it comes to the rainy season. And I believe the Gampaha district is prone to a lot of dengue cases being reported, not just the Gampaha district, but there are many other areas in the Western Province that are prone to the dengue epidemic. And this has been a problem that has required a solution for many years, but we somehow have still failed to provide a robust solution to this epidemic, even in 2024. So have you had any sort of consultations with maybe the heads of the healthcare sector in the Western Province to develop such a plan and to implement that plan in the short run and the medium and the long run as well?
Yeah, so dengue or dengue as something which I'm personally, which I've got affected also personally from losing someone. And I had a meeting with the health section of the Western Province. So what we really do is that, you know, every time there's an outbreak, you fly drones in. We got about 3 drones. They fly in and say we have buildings are covered with clutter and go and inspect.
Okay.
But it's a reactive
Process.
process,
Not
very reactive process. I've been studying in deep and doing some concern to come with something much beyond that.
Something proactive.
Proactive. How do we do it? It's not only for the dengue season to come in. No.
Yes.
So that's a priority because the losing of lives is so heavy. Losing loved ones is so heavy. So that's a priority. I've been looking at various methods. I've been doing a lot of research on it. I'm still new on the job. But that's a priority. There are so many priorities. Can I do so many things? But where lives are concerned, it's about saving lives. And I think I'm looking at various other forms of new methods done by other countries and see how we can do it and adopt it here.
Right. So the people in the Western Province particularly can be rest assured that this dengue epidemic or this outbreak, if it does occur, will be taken into account and it will be resolved before many valuable lives are lost once more.
Yes, unfortunately it cannot be immediate.
Yes, but in the near to the long
future. But it has to be done with a proper plan. It's a project of seriousness.
Understood. So coming into the economic aspect of things, Mr. Hanif, we know Sri Lanka faced an economic meltdown in 2022. There have been various reasons put forth attributing it to the economic meltdown: overspending, mismanagement, so many other various aspects and opinions have been thrown forward. But like you said, now people have some sort of hope, and the people are willing to put in the hard yards to make that hope a reality, to bring Sri Lanka back to where she actually belongs. And in that vein, being in the Western Province as the governor, the Western Province is home to the commercial capital of Sri Lanka, and there are some vital locations, the Colombo port, something I'm sure you're very familiar with, and free trade zones as well in Biagama and whatnot. What sort of strategies have you reflected on, what sort of strategies you can implement to ensure that these locations, these assets are upgraded and there is greater economic engagement within the province?
Yeah, my view is that you can have an island in the ocean, make it a Manhattan. You can have severe, great free trade zones. But compare ourselves even to Pakistan. You hear all bad news of Pakistan. Pakistan has adopted a single window platform, which works very well. I know India has, and everybody. We are still struggling with it.
For investment.
For investments, you got to make ease of
doing business. Yes.
So that will happen when the ministers do come in and they will have a plan. But what do I do? I mean, what can I do? I have to, first of all, make it easy for people who come to do business to get their business approved.
Yes.
So I have to make sure things are easy for the public servants too. And I will tell you one thing that really has destroyed this whole country is nothing but waste, severe waste, and everything that we do, you know. So I've observed that, and I really want to bring some change. And I've been speaking to my senior people in my, and they all agree. They all applaud to that. And I thought only way I can do is, of course, the people talk about digitalization, the whole thing.
Yes.
Slow and steady. I want to make sure that it is truly becomes an easy experience to come and get a job done at a public service office.
Right.
So why not make Colombo or Western Province a smart city, like what Dubai has done in Singapore? Now everybody's talking, we want to be like Singapore and all that.
Yes.
So I'm not just talking just like that. I'm talking with some seriousness.
With facts.
Facts. How do we do that? And I always say, compared to a larger country like our neighbors, we're a small country. In my logistic terms, I'm a speedboat. And that's a massive ship.
Yeah.
To turn around, a speedboat is faster than a massive ship. This is what I'm looking at. How do I turn around with speed?
So that ability is there.
That ability is there. The ability has always been there. It's only a commitment. And let good people govern. Let good people operate. Let good systems come in. So there's a lot of homework to be done, but this can be done. We have got good people in this country. We've got experts from every side of it. The amount of calls I get and say, listen, I want to work free for you. Can we do something for the country? Can we do, I have this expertise. So wealth of experiences. Wealth of experiences, So all I need is to tap the potentials of people. And that's a plan.
So in that quest, Mr. Hanif, now you have been a business leader, you have been the head of a corporate, and in those years I'm sure you've had to have some form of government engagement during the running of your business, and now you have converted yourself into an administrator. So you have, although about 2.5 weeks being the governor, but you still have a sense of an idea of how things work on both ends of the spectrum. And one thing that corporates find difficult when it comes to engaging with the government is the amount of bureaucracy, the amount of red tape. Like you said, the ease of doing business is non-existent in Sri Lanka because there are so many approvals that you need to get, or there are so many institutions that you need to reach out to if you need to get certain things done. So from peering into the governance system as a corporate leader from the private sector to being an administrator yourself, what are the lessons that you have learned that you can maybe implement in the governance structure to allow it to be more friendly and to be more open to the private sector of Sri Lanka?
Sometimes I hire a lot of good people. My main criteria whenever I hired, one thing, people always look at skills, the education. I always looked at one thing, attitude.
Right.
I'm not a scholar. I had my basic education. But I always knew a man with the right attitude can get the job done. So I won't be able to change the entire attitude of the government, public service. But I can change to some degree. A little bit of change in that attitude can do wonders, can speed up things. And that's what I'm looking at. And if I give them an easy way of doing their business, who wants to keep writing on CR books? Who wants to keep writing on with a red pen and a blue pen and another black pen on the side? Who really wants to do? Because there are people who also watch modern. There are people who have traveled today. Travel has become so easy, so they travel, they watch countries, they've seen. It's on their mind. You just got to drive deep to that mind and extract what is good for the country and what is good for them. And that's possible, but there has to be a change of attitude, and that has to be done by training. In corporates, you train people. So those things are important. They bring that amount of system of training. And I find there are so much of qualified people in public service who are just dying to do something. But they have got clouded with this old lethargic system, because whatever they come up with an idea, nobody wants to listen.
It's shut down.
They're shut down. So I'm a listener. I always did my business by listening to the voice of my heart. And I'm doing that and trying to cultivate that. So,
certainly. So, being the Western Province Governor, Mr. Hanif, I'm sure, like you mentioned, you have to deal with representatives from various fora, from foreign envoys, to business leaders, to leaders in Sri Lanka's governance sector, heads of institutions and so on. Let's appeal to business leaders. I'm sure some of them are friends as well. What do they have to do, not just in the Western Province, but for the whole of Sri Lanka? What would your message be as a seasoned corporate leader and a visionary for them to develop processes, for them to develop their businesses in a way that will help Sri Lanka move forward? Are you confident that they can do it, and what sort of moves should they make beyond what they're already contributing? We must give them that credit. Beyond what they're doing now, what else should they be doing in your opinion?
So basically, you know, I made a statement many years ago when I won the Entrepreneur Asia Award.
Right.
And I said that, wake up guys. If Birla, Tata, Reliance from India can go overseas and develop their businesses, why can't we? So that message went, and we have seen Sri Lankan businesses going overseas. Is that enough? But what about Sri Lanka itself? What about Sri Lanka itself? Sri Lanka is like the Hong Kong to China, right? This is a service area. People who come from, especially from neighboring countries, love to come here. People from other countries come, they love here. We have a soul right now. That's a very important thing. We have a soul, and businesses have a soul here. They have been turned down whenever they bring some foreign individuals. Their own ideas, you know, they want to grow, so they go with the same idea somewhere else in another country and grow that idea. What about here? So because they get blocked in things which are very slow, doesn't get approved, takes a long time. Everybody wants maybe a buck to get something done, get it passed. That's
a kickback, a commission here and
you
there.
Can't. Nobody wants to do business that way. World doesn't run on that business.
At least genuine investors wouldn't want to run.
No, we want genuine investors. No, we don't want a guy to come and just open a scam.
Midnight deals.
Yeah, midnight deals, all these scam phones that they do.
Yes.
All over that we are getting exposed now.
Definitely.
Why is that? Why can't that be a proper call center? Why was our visa system so complicated? So there's a lot to do, but we can't be negative about it. And we all at corporates or our leaders with our experience, it's time to give back really, and for them to give back from, at least from my province and from my governors from other provinces who are all capable people that the president has appointed, I think, academics.
Yes.
I'm a businessman, but they're academics. Is that we can give back by making it so easy to get things done, you know, and truth must prevail. So once you have to create the environment, you know, you have to create the environment to do business. And that environment, because we are very, very entrepreneurial, our corporates are very entrepreneurial.
Yes.
So we will extend that, and so our university students are entrepreneurial. I see them, you know, producing drones, making a lot of things, using Moroto. I mean, we have a lot of talent.
They just need that nudge.
No, man, it just needs that little nudge, you know.
And you're willing to give that as the governor of
If I can do that, my end of my life, I'll be joyful. I'm joyful now too, but at the end of my life, what do I contribute?
It will be an extra privilege for you.
Yeah, that's all I can contribute, you know.
Understood. So, Mr. Hanif, on the 21st of September, Sri Lanka went to the polls. They decided who they want to lead Sri Lanka for the next 5 years. On the 14th of November, we will be going to the polls once more, you and I and the rest of Sri Lanka, to appoint the legislature, which is a hallowed institution, the parliament. Over the years, there have been various allegations saying that parliamentarians have not been up to the standard that we require. That has been an allegation that has marred the political system for many years. But this time around, Sri Lankans are more aware, and they are willing to make a pragmatic decision at the polls. Now, I want you to take the hat of the governor off and speak to me as a citizen of Sri Lanka. And tell me what Sri Lankans need to identify in a potential candidate who they are willing to vote for to get into parliament.
You know, is behavior. No? First thing was watch your behavior. In my family life, in my business life, discipline was very important. First of all, it must be discipline.
Discipline.
First of all, self-discipline. So you must know a man who is not disciplined by his outward behavior is reckless. He's reckless. So we don't need that, because the priorities are not the man on the street then. So first of all, watch the behaviors of your candidates and vote according to the skills. Again, the story of experience will come in. What has this man got? No experience.
Yes.
I have no experience in public life. They took a chance on me. So let's take a chance on
Yet
good
you are
people.
working to the fullest capabilities to ensure that the citizens of Sri Lanka live a better life.
Lead a better life. To have we need better lawmakers to lead a better life. You know. So
Once with the drive to actually develop Sri Lanka and not for their profit.
not really, no. I mean, but that's how the entire system has been working
Yes.
and all that.
Yes.
But it's again, you know, it's about the discipline that's come from top. That's why I always said top is important here.
Yes.
How the top behaves.
Mm.
And I pray and hope that we have that. I sincerely believe so personally of my little engagements with the man at the top. So he can bring the whole behavior down that way.
Right.
Must start from there. It's not an easy task, but nothing is easy in life.
Yes.
Life itself is not easy.
Definitely. Understood. So unfortunately we are coming to the end of this very insightful and educative conversation with Mr. Hanif, but I must allow you to speak to your fellow citizens in the Western Province and wherever they may be watching from this particular show, and give them your parting words or thoughts on how you believe that Sri Lanka can reach its full potential over the next 5 years or 5 years and beyond, and what your ultimate vision is, because I know all your businesses have had a vision.
Yeah.
EFL has a vision, Expo Lanka has a vision. The vision statement is what gives you the pathway to achieve what you want to achieve. What
Yeah.
is your vision? Ultimately, what is your vision for the Western Province, for Sri Lanka?
For Western Province, let me start. I'm a man from Colombo. I know Gampa Gardens, which I visited when I was very young. I don't know whether that's still around. I'm going to do my rounds now.
Yes.
Kalutara has things that can be developed. But let's take Colombo, for example, in this interview. Sites, when tourists come to Colombo, Jamal, they only stay one night.
Right.
And then they go around. But what has Colombo got to offer? Maybe a casino.
Yes.
But that's for the casino guy. What for the family? Where is a museum?
What is the state of our museum?
What a state of museum. You know, have we got curated for the museum? There's beautiful gardens. Can we make it a place for occasions? You know, the country. First thing I did at provincial council, I asked, what is our income?
Right.
How do I, when I leave this office, how do I make sure that income has become better than what it was? So, I'm just telling you, in Colombo, when I centralized, museum is just underutilized. The planetarium is only on Saturdays.
And hasn't been upgraded in many years, I believe.
What about a sound and light show at the Independence
Square?
What about that? What about small differences? What about even our public library?
Yeah.
You know, there's so many things
For
that
the
we have.
relaxation and the entertainment of the public.
And also sites. We have a beautiful old town hall at Main Street near Gasworks Streets. Totally run down.
Underutilized.
I don't even, I mean, people are just saying even this. I mean, that's like the Victoria Market in Australia, in Melbourne. What about the little bell that is there that was rung by the slaves or whatever it is? On Main Street again. Nobody knows that.
Yes.
There's a bell there.
Yes.
What about the lighthouse? What about the clock tower? So I'm just talking about Colombo that
Yes,
I want.
just
So,
Colombo.
so you got to create certain excitement. My thing is very clear. How do I make Western Province a clean province? How do I make it a safe province? How do I make it a business province? How do I make it a place of ease of doing business? How do I make it a vibrant province?
Right.
And take those, and those are the income that drives in. Once you have the income drives it and people get used to the income driving in,
They will be motivated as well.
standard of living goes up. They are motivated. They are entrepreneurs. The tour guides are entrepreneurs. Tourist drivers are
They
entrepreneurs.
do it from their hearts.
Yeah. So that I'm just touching on the tourism
Yes.
part of it because that's important. That's the low-hanging fruit.
I see.
Low-hanging fruit. So there's a lot to do, and I know every province governors are going to do because they have been looking at their provinces and do that. We'll do all our respective jobs. We'll rally around, irrespective of party politics. I'm not. Again, I said I'm not a NPP member or whatever it is. I'm a person appointed and reporting to the president. My appointment is direct by the president. My thing is to do what is good and go according to his vision rather than my
amplify
vision.
his vision.
Amplify his vision. I can't have a vision. He has a vision.
Yes.
So I totally endorse his vision. I want to end up and say, we have a humble man. We have a good man. We have a man who listens. A man who's not critical of everything else. Man who really wants to do a good job. And this is not a political thing that I'm doing at the eve of elections. This is what my heart says. This is what my connection with this leader was, that a connection that made me to accept this job of Western government. A man that inspired me and motivated me to say yes.
Right.
That's a great.
He managed to tug at your heartstrings.
Yeah. So that, and he has done that with a lot of people, and that's where this trend and hope is going. I pray it remains that way, but it's our duty of each one of us to do what we can do for the country, and all of us are used to do things in a fast, quick, illegal manner because we want to get things speeded up. So it has become a culture.
Yes.
From time our children are born, we are trying to find a residence near the school that we want to send the child to. We try to create certificates of electricity or whatever it is to make sure that we are around there, and then the whole thing goes for donation. I mean, from schooling.
So dismantling that system is...
Yeah, it's a huge system to dismantle.
Yeah.
But when you have a process of easiness, like like the vision of the state is to have schools close by, lot of good schools.
Yes.
And
so that parents won't have to register their residence elsewhere.
Yeah. And still moving garbages in trucks to another dumping station far away. How risky is that?
Yes.
How unsafe is that? While every other country can, do. We have been talking about recycling
and we are a country that have suffered those consequences. We've seen the Blue Mandal garbage dump, how it collapsed.
And what have we done after it collapsed? What have we done? All we need to do is to do an arrangement with some company that will produce something out of it.
Yes.
Give us something cleaner. And that's possible in every other state. We don't have to think too much and draw things. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's all available out there. So that's my hope and aspiration. And I hope together, all of us. And I again pray that people like us who are put in these positions produce results. And however much criticisms that we can face, that we can walk and not react to them.
Right.
The idea is not to get rattled.
Stay firmly.
Stay firm on the ground, do your thing, and only way you can be judged is what you produce. That's how it is.
So, judging by what you said, and to bring it all together in microcosm, I believe at the end of this chapter as the Western Province Governor, you believe to be known as the people's governor, maybe?
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
That would be nice. People's governor. Thank you.
Very well said, Mr. Hanif. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for face-to-face this evening. Mr. Hanif Yusoof, the newly appointed Western Province Governor, was my interlocutor today. We believe that Sri Lanka can be changed. He does too. I do as well, and I'm sure everyone who is watching this program believes that Sri Lanka can change for the better. But in order for us to do that, we need sincere officials, we need sincere leaders, and we need someone right at the top who is sincere enough to believe that Sri Lanka can change for the better, and everyone will follow suit when the top is heading in the right direction. And with that, we have to conclude face-to-face this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. Take care and see you on a new episode.